At your age, and I'll follow. Suits the stage, and I guess I'm finally old enough to see I'm standing on in your hand.
Hey, this is C-ville. Wow, this is so cool. I get this periodical all the time. I get it in Waynesboro. I get it everywhere. Hey, I'm Robin Hoffman. I'm Charlottesville public artist, and some people want to know, what is public art? Well, public art is a venue, a way of communicating to the public about what is going on in our culture. It is so important that we have this freedom of speech, so to speak, and that we can all express ourselves without having any kind of bias or censorship. And so that's what Charlottesville Public Access does. But also, David Dillahunt has been one of our unbelievable entrepreneur videographers for the Charlottesville Public Access for many, many years. But he works a lot of times for me and for some of the other artists as a volunteer, especially now that we're trying to raise money for the free clinic on A Day a Minute with artist Robin Hoffman. So, and today we are at the C-ville, and I have never been here before, like in person. I mean, I read their periodical and I get so much information about what's going on in Charlottesville. Wait, there's somebody there. Maybe we can speak to them now. Hello.
Hi.
Hey, I'm Robin Hoffman, and you are?
I'm Courteney Stuart. I'm the editor of Cville Weekly.
Oh my God, I'm so excited to meet you.
Nice to
Do
meet
you
you.
know, I spend a lot of time trying to find out about Charlottesville in your periodical, and it's for so many years. And I just want to thank you so much for being dedicated. And you know, you're, for me, the New York Times, I'm sorry to mention that, but I read that every Sunday because the journalists are actually paid to go out and do real research. And so I just want to know, can we ask you some questions while we're here?
Sure.
Wow, this is so awesome. Okay, so how do you, first of all, what is your process as far as what your actual hands-on, what do you do as an editor here?
Well, I am actually relatively new to the editor's chair here at Cville. I was over as a reporter from previously at The Hook, and I was a reporter here for about 5 months, just took over as editor, so I'm kind of getting my feet wet in that role, and I'm still doing some writing, and I'm overseeing the living and art sections as well as our specialty publications like Abode, Kids, Weddings. So we put out a lot of products here.
Oh my goodness, now can I do your caricature?
Sure.
I just happen to have my easel here.
All right.
And what I do basically is I do caricatures. I've done about 3,000 since I've been here since 2006.
Oh, nice.
And I do them for the TV show, but also for different events. Like I am a member of VSA, which is Virginia Special Arts, but not anymore. I forget the long name. I'm sorry. I go to the meetings and I still forget. But it means that people who have challenges intellectually and physically get to work workshops, and they raise money not only here but in Washington, D.C. and most of Virginia. Have special people who, like myself, I have a master's degree from NYU, and I know about teaching. I have education credits and all that sort of stuff. So I do free workshops. Anyway, so C-ville has been wonderful to highlight those type of initiatives whereby we can actually sort of project that the need for culture and expression is here in Charlottesville, and it's very vibrant. So, can you tell us, while I set up, about Abode and all that?
Well, Abode is our home and living magazine. It's a beautiful, beautiful magazine that comes out once a month and features gorgeous, gorgeous houses, people that are involved in home building and home design.
And so, why is that important, do you think?
Well, I think everybody loves getting an inside view into beautiful homes, but there's also, you know, people are always looking for ideas in their own homes and looking for ideas on who might be able to do certain types of work. You know, concrete countertops was one of our topics recently. So it's a popular publication, and I think in an area like this.
Who does the service in Charlottesville, and how do you get the service? Kind of like Angie's List about is.
Yeah, well, it's more featurey. Angie's List is really like you go there to find out like whether somebody's good or bad, or you know, you really get the a review from the people who've used the clients. This is more spotlighting beautiful houses and people who do work in the area.
Do you think you're setting trends as well?
Well, you like to think you are, and certainly like to think that you're highlighting people who do good work and have a good eye.
So, well, this is interesting to me because I'm an entrepreneur as well. I make money doing art. I do portraiture, I do landscapes, I do sculpture with repurposed materials, and and I've been doing these videos not because I want to, because David here, David Dillahunt, is so good that it just inspires me to continue. And so right now, while we talk some more, David's going to kind of like watch me watch you. And if you don't mind, I'll be doing your character at the same time. So, I've been doing this since I'm 17 or more. But anyway, what I did all my life is raise money for schools at the May, like just before I'd go on vacation, because I was also teaching at some point, and then go off to my vacation, feeling good karma because I raised money. And I go on Manhattan streets like this. And when I came here in Charlottesville, I was on the downtown mall in the kiosk, which was here for many years.
I remember that.
And then it sort of changed, you know, the sort of the culture that goes on the downtown mall. And it's important for the C-ville to highlight people who are native from here. And so that's really awesome that people are inspired to not only buy, you know, the products. So that's very important. Can you elaborate a little bit more about what your publication does?
You mean, well, the weekly publication it's a news, arts, and living weekly. So we try to inform the community in a variety of ways with reviews and previews of events that are coming up in our art section, music, art, theater. And then we have living section where we're talking about food and restaurant news, some, you know, writing on parenting and lifestyle stuff. We have.
Do people come to you, or do you have to go to them to get the information?
Both. I mean, you really, as a reporter and a journalist in a small community, you do rely on people to bring you, hey, I saw this cool thing, or hey, you really should be aware that this new place is open, or this person is doing something cool. The news section, I think, is where you have to go out and do the most digging, because what you're trying to find out is maybe things that people don't necessarily want you to know about. So
I gotta stop you for a minute and just tell me what kind of physical sports or any kind of activities you like, because I'm doing your hands and legs.
I like CrossFit. I was a big CrossFitter, so I like doing Olympic lifting and you know,
so like
crazy stuff.
Do you do marathon type of things?
No, I'm not a distance person. I'm sort of a quick burst of energy and get it over with person.
Okay. Cool. So you work out of a gym, or?
Yeah, well, I try.
Okay. And so what do you think is your mental forte? Like what do you like to do? What kind of exercise mentally do you think is inspirational to you for your work?
Mentally, I like brainstorming with people, and I like bouncing ideas around. I talk almost constantly.
How do you spell your first name?
Courteney.
What? Courteney. There's an extra little E there, no?
There is.
So, that's so awesome. And so, now I just sort of color you in. So, what's your favorite color, do you think?
My favorite color?
Yes, ma'am.
Green.
Green. Okay, we'll put a lot of that in there. So now, how long have you been in Charlottesville, do you think?
Well, I came here in late 97. Sort of a little bit in 96, mostly full-time in 97. And then I actually started working at C-ville in 1998 and was here for 4 years, and then did some time at the Hook, and then now I'm back at C-ville where I started.
What do you think, if you don't mind me asking, do you prefer the city or the country?
If I had to choose to live in one, it would be in the city, but I love both. And if I really got my way, I would have a place in the country and the city.
Okay, and so, do you prefer like Paris or something like that kind of city?
I have not been to Paris, so I can't say. I like going to big cities though. If I was taking a vacation, I would choose a city.
So your features with, if you don't mind me asking all these questions, because I go back and forth, because as I do the caricature, different ideas come to me. I'm it's meditative for me, and so like my brain actually, what is that, luminous.com or something?
Oh, Luminosity.
Luminosity,
right? Yes.
yeah, that's my art.
Yeah.
Is that like you with your publishing and all that sort of stuff? Or
yeah, I'm definitely verbal, I think.
So, and so that inspires you, like the things that really allow you to be the most creative or innovative, what do you think helps you in Charlottesville, for instance? Like, do you go to the Paramount and see some of the events there and that sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly inspired by other people's talent and seeing wonderful performances. Personally, I think my expertise and passion is doing investigative journalism, so I get the most excited when I'm digging and finding things that nobody else has
Can I
found.
ask you about that? Can I say,
Sure.
like, what was maybe one of the most fascinating interviews that make you keep wanting to keep doing it, that sort of thing?
Well, I really like interviewing. People who have done interesting things, but I also have a particular fascination in talking to people who have done bad things and trying and sort of getting a perspective on what motivates people. So, financial criminals and that sort of thing.
Oh, yeah, so I imagine that's actually scary, that people actually have an interest in something like that, as opposed to...
Well, you would hope, yeah, you would hope that they get caught.
And, so in my many years of being in the public art, I have had people do weird things. Like, I've been trying to raise money, and then somebody would like tell the police that I was, loitering or something like that, and then the police would call me, and I'd say, "What? No, I'm raising money." And it's interesting that if like, for instance, I'm also Black Association, president at some point. And that once you ask your neighbors to participate and all that sort of stuff, people get suspicious. So it must be hard to be like a journalist, you know what I'm saying? And go around and ask the questions that are necessary to get the story. And then people all of a sudden might get nervous.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you really do have to establish trust with people and hopefully people eventually are willing to come to you with stories. And the main point is to inform the community, and so that's the reason for writing anything, is to shed light on things that are happening in every arena.
And I'm guessing that there's like sort of a science to it, in the sense that you kind of have to like have like your rationale down before you get to that place where you're actually asking the question, sort of like me stumbling and
Well, sure. I mean, every story has the who, what, when, where, why. You're just going in and asking that, and then of course you're trying to put it in the context of why is this important for people to know about, and why is it important right now for people to know about, and so that's how you select a story.
Yeah, and so when you're at your desk, for instance, you work off a computer. Do you use social media at all, do you think?
We do. Everybody has to use social media these days.
And so, like, I have, and I promise you I don't know who these people are, but I have like 1,000 and something friends. I don't know who they are, but when I see something in social media, somebody comments, and then they just make like this most outrageous thing. I say, I want to know this person, so I ask them to friend me. And so that's how I got all these friends. But there was a gentleman who went for like he raised $5,000 on Kickstarter because he wanted to go explore whose friends he had, like for real. And he went around the country.
Meeting all of his Facebook friends. I think I read something about that. That's really cool. Are you going to do that?
No. But a lot of them are from Charlottesville, and I like the idea of that, and then I don't like the idea of that.
You're
Kind of like
the
a
idea of keeping
Snowden
things a little
thing.
separate, right?
Yes, but, you know, the idea that people can be digesting your information and selling it. You know, and I know the C-ville doesn't do that. You don't do that. You're a publishing company.
No.
You know, you don't sell your information, right?
No. If you have any kind of content that is paid for, it has to be labeled as such, and it's essentially an ad, and it has to be labeled as an ad.
Okay. And maybe I'm asking political incorrect questions. You can say, no, I can't answer that or whatever. But what I mean is that because you're a local periodical, like I'm used to New York City, we had, wow, what was the name of that publication? I don't remember. Oh my God. The Village Voice. So are you from New York?
No, I'm from Massachusetts.
Oh, did you tell me that just, okay. So, I'm sorry, I should have asked. But anyway, how do you know about the Village Voice?
How do I know? I think everybody knows about the
Really?
Village Voice. Yeah.
Cool. I mean, I used to read that as a teenager to find out what was happening in the city because I used to do portraits on 6th Avenue. And I raised money to go to college. Doing that, at that time, I also had a sign company, and I worked with some of the big artists later on and did murals around the city. You know, worked with the architects and Jerry Johnson and not really the WPA, but what they called the Federal Act at the time. So I got exposure because when I went to NYU and Brooklyn College, all the famous artists taught. And so they embraced me because I was like weird or whatever, and then invited me to different things. And so I got to see the New York art scene, but then I became a public artist. But I'm curious about you and how you became a public journalist, so to speak.
Oh, well, I just couldn't figure out what I would like to do. I'd like to do everything, and somebody suggested I should try journalism 20 years or 18 years ago, and I did, and I loved it.
Wow,
And there we
that's
have
so awesome. And so, but also, like, how did you get, as a woman, I guess, how did you get to be so brave to go out there and compete with, I guess what I think is, you know, professionally, like people getting paid a man's world in a way. Am I wrong or?
Well, I mean, I've been very fortunate to have editors who were very supportive of my work and who helped me develop as a writer and as a professional. And I have not ever felt that my gender held me back in the line of local journalism. But I certainly, we actually here at Cville have almost entirely female staff on the editorial side, which is not because I don't want men working, it just happens to be how it is.
Yeah, but it's a balanced approach in the sense that you're not discriminating based on gender.
No,
anything like that.
You know, I mean, I think you like to get a variety of voices, but certainly there's fearless women who are out and about in this town, not just at this paper, but at the TV stations and at the Daily Progress, and you know, men and women out there doing the work.
And that's so important today in terms of freedom of speech, I think, is that we consider everything so that everybody can have a voice and that sort of thing. Definitely. So I want to give you your caricature today.
All right.
And I'm going to show it to you. You can have it as with my signature, so I'm a famous artist here.
Oh, thank you. That's great.
And then, if you don't mind, can you hold it up?
Sure.
And what I do now is I kind of like say thank you very much.
Thank you,
for
Robin.
allowing us into your private experience here, because it's so important that people know how much work there is done here and why it's done and that sort of thing. And that's a wrap.